bluish smoke, it when you viewing the smoke, it gives you this thick white with a stripe of blue in it.
Yes.
So you won't see it full-blown blue, but you see the bluish effect inside the fog of white. Now, this bluish smoke is as a result of sipping oil that is excessive in the combustion chamber being burned off, and it has already crossed through the emission system, and now it is coming out because of the backload of the burning effect. Now, this bluish smoke indicates that oil is sipping and is passing the combustion chamber, and it is being burnt off and sent out through the exhaust pipe. Apart from that, you have the one of the black smoke. Now, the black smoke indicates a rich mixture.
What's the cause of the bluish smoke? Is it the oil, or is it burning excessive oil or excessive fuel?
The bluish smoke is as a result of excessive oil being burnt out. If you can remember when this discussion started yesterday, it was said that this oil, when it is in the minute form, when it just starts entering or starts sipping into, it gets burnt off fast, because the combustion chamber has a high pressure and a burning effect that can help to burn off the little oil that seeps into into the combustion chamber. So at this point, if it's not yet excessive, it won't result into a smoke. What you'll be observing is over time shortening of the oil whenever you're checking the gauge. Over time. But when it becomes excessive is when this smoke comes out through the pipes, and you see it evidently, depending on how degraded the oil is or how degraded the engine components are, which are the metals. You will determine how excessively the smoke will be at the tailpipe. That's for the bluish smoke. Now, the other smokes that we are looking at, the black smoke. The black smoke is as a result of a rich mixture, and by rich mixture we mean excessive fuel being burnt and being taken out from the exhaust. At this point, it's telling you that the fuel that is meant to mix with the air is in excess in relation to the air that is meant to enter. You know, there's a stoichiometric balance or stoichiometric ratio that is meant to meet each other inside the combustion chamber. Once the fuel exceeds the normal air ratio, which is 14.664 to ratio 1, once it exceeds it, all right, it will, at the end of the day, cause or result in a black smoke being coming out of the exhaust pipe. So that's the result of the black smoke.
All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Yes, that's the voice of Tony Loba Olutuashi. So we are discussing exhaust, as in getting bluish, black, or whitish smoke, from your tailpipe. So the reason you get that, and how you can resolve it. So that's Tony's voice, and now we're going to give it back to the MD himself. Yes, it's Ebulani Kane. So it's the Arrowhead, yes, and talking about Mr. Kunle Shonaike, I believe you want to listen to him. So, Mr. Kunle, so what's your take on that? You need to at least...
you see, there is no take, because he has actually said everything. Everything he highlighted is what happened. I mean, I might be able to say it from a different angle, a different perspective. Let's look at the black smoke. Yes. Black smoke, when you see black smoke, that's an indication that we are burning excessive fuel. And when we say you are burning excessive fuel, that does not mean you are actually dissipating or burning the old fuel inside the engine. The ones you see, the black smokes you see, the black smoke is the ones that are not burned, mixed with the little air. Like he rightly said, you have to have a balance of 14.7 to 1, which is the stoichiometric ratio of the fuel to air. But when there are so many factors that could cause you to have this excessive fuel consumption or black smoke less. So we're not talking about the factors, and this will happen both in diesel or petrol, depending. Anytime you see black smoke, either it's diesel or you're burning excessive, a lot of things can cause it. Same thing goes for the engine oil. When you start seeing bluish smoke, that means that damage is excessive. It's not something that can be managed anymore. It's now physical, that the engine has to be torn apart to fix that particular problem. And in most cases, when you see it, you see that black smoke trailing you. It's either the oil ring is completely gone, or the valve seals is completely gone, or both.
Wow.
In most cases, when you see that bluish smoke trailing you, that means the engine might be sounding okay.
That's another one.
The engine will run good.
So be sounding okay.
Oh yes.
Even with the black smoke.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, there are cases that it depends on your compression, the compression of your engine. On the engine, this is like having a class now.
Yes.
On your engine, you have 3 sets of rings. You have the first 2 are compression ring. Those are supposed to give you tight compression, no leakage in your engine compression, in the combustion chamber. That means you are able to build up good compression. And when you have good compression, you're going to have good fuel burning. But that does not mean you're not going to burn oil, because the lower part, you have the oil ring, and the oil ring comes in 3 pieces.
Okay.
Also, if any of those pieces is damaged, you're going to have oil issue. So, and in most cases, that's the first one that goes out on some vehicle.
Wow.
That's the first one that goes out, because it's the one that has the, in terms of strength.
Yes.
The strength of the oil ring is not as good as the compression ring. It's very thin, very light, and it has an expander, and that expander is also thin.
Wow. So the compression ring is actually the one that keeps the engine.
Your compression ring is the workhorse of the engine that builds up that compression. Your oil ring, the only job the oil ring is doing is just so when the engine is running, the cylinder wall is being splashed with oil. Because you have oil being coming out of the connecting rod. Certainly. There are some jets that will be spraying oil on the cylinder wall.
Yeah.
The job of the oil ring is to scrape that oil back into the sump. But when the ring is bad, some of it are going to escape.
Sure.
And so when they escape, what happens is when the piston is coming back up, that oil is trapped in between the oil ring and the compression ring, and it's scraping back up close to the combustion chamber. And those ones are the ones that escape through the oil ring, through the compression ring into the engine. Then, an oil ring will also cause this problem. When you have an oil ring that's leaking, or a valve seal that's leaking, dropping oil into the combustion area, most especially when you park, this oil will seep into the grooves of the pistons. When this oil seeps into the grooves of the pistons, when you start the engine, you're building up compression, and the temperature inside that compression chamber goes for about 600-700, depending on how good the compression is. This temperature, this heat, will dry up those oil, and those oil will now become more or less like something that's welding. It seizes. It will not allow the compression ring to expand out, because it has dried up and seized the compression or the oil ring, any of the ring. It will seize them inside the piston groove, so they're not able to expand. When that happens, you're going to have black smoke. You're going to have combination of black smoke and blue smoke.
Wow. That's interesting. Wow, that's interesting. All right, so how do we guide against this, Mr. Kunle? How do we prevent this from happening to our vehicle?
Good maintenance. One, you use the right oil, the specified specification for your engine. It doesn't matter the maker, but is it the right specification? And it's not an adulterated oil. You do your service, most especially your lube service, constantly. Because when you don't do your lubrication at the right time, the oil too will start oxidizing and start building up sludge. When you start having sludge, some of these are going to cause some of the problem you are having. So good maintenance is the key.
Good maintenance is the key.
I have an engine that's over 50-year-old. And the engine is still in the original.
Over 50 years old?
Yes.
That engine is older than me.
And it's still in the same, the original engine.
And you still driving the car?
Yeah, I drove it yesterday.
Mr. Kunle,
yes.
What's the secret? Just tell us.
Good maintenance. I treat it like
now some people actually maintain their vehicles well.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because of maybe the nature of
I've never
climb.
No, it has nothing to do with climb.
Really?
It has nothing to do. When you have, it's just like our body. You take care of your body, it will take care of you. Same thing applies to your mechanical equipment. Anything you take care of will take care of you.
All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Yes, this is Automedics, and we talk automotives on the show. So that's the voice of Mr. Kunle Shonaike, Managing Director of Automedics. And now Mr. Kunle is saying he's been using a particular car for 50 years. Okay, yes.
I was not the one that bought it brand new.
You didn't even buy it brand new?
But I didn't buy it brand new, but it has the original engine. Never been opened.
That's interesting.
But since I've had it for years now, but I maintain it.
Good maintenance.
I treat it like a baby, and every now and then when I need to drive it, I drove it yesterday after we left the studio. When we got back to the office, I said, let me take this car for a ride.
But then it's not a car you drive every day, right?
Well, these days it's not a car I drive every day.
Back in the days,
back in the days,
your favorite.
Yeah, I drive it. Well, then it wasn't even every day, but I drove it every weekend.
Oh, okay.
Every Saturday and Sunday. And my girls would drive it every now and then because they love to drive it.
09153877127 and 009912077. These numbers get to you. You know, it's always fun having Mr. Kunle in the studio because we always mix experience with stories, with training and education and everything, put together. So that's why it's always fun, having Mr. Kunle Shonaike. So while you are learning, you're also catching fun. And so now you told us now that the best thing or the only solution. Okay, we have a call. Let's take this call first.
Hello.
Hello, good morning to you.
Okay, good morning. My name is Emmanuel.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I'm calling from Ikeja.
All right.
Okay, I have an issue with my Corolla.
Okay. Please,
I
turn down the volume on your radio set.
Okay, volume on my radio set.
We're getting feedback.
Okay, is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. I drive Toyota Corolla. Give me that book.
The man must have wrote
I
down.
run the scans
Okay.
on the vehicle, and these are the codes.
Okay.
Corolla 2010.
Okay.
30340.
Okay.
30368.
Okay.
Then the last one is showing pending code 30012. So those are the three codes.
Yeah, but he said P00340
368 or 010.
That's 340, 368, and 0012.
Okay, what's the problem of the vehicle? What's the issue?
Okay, the vehicle, I think it doesn't, it doesn't start, like, it cranks like 3 times before it can be able to start.
Okay, it cranks like 3
So
times.
the technician said they said it's a cold start. We should replace the cold start because at times before it doesn't start in the morning.
I know. I don't know what they mean by cold start. What year is that car? There's nothing like cold start.
2010. That is what the man said. He said this cold start sensor also.
Okay, go ahead.
Cold start sensor.
Okay.
There's nothing like cold
Cold
start.
start sensor. Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to replace that cold start sensor. So now the car begins to start. But what I'm seeing now is that it counts like 3-4 times before it starts. Anytime I off it, it counts like 3-4 times before it starts.
Okay, that's the problem.
That is what I feel. Okay, let me run a scan before I got this code.
Okay, well, the codes you have. What's the last code?
P0012.
0012 is the same thing.
Can I just turn to the radio off?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
You
listen
can
from the
listen.
radio.
Yes.
Well, the code is having. Here will cause the problem is having also, which will be hard starting, but it will really not cause it that bad. The code is all the 3 codes are related. They all has to do with camshaft position sensor.
Sensor, exactly.
And when you have this code, what that is telling me, you could have a connection issue, which
Okay.
has to do with wiring. If it's not wiring, if somebody had worked on the engine and the cam facer, this will also cause the problem. If you have a timing belt or timing chain that's out of alignment in the sense that they have jumped one tooth, maybe somebody worked on it, they didn't set the timing back on right, you'll get this problem. More with the way he is talking on the hard starting, I think that has a lot to do with the fuel pressure regulator, because he said he has to crank it like 3 times.
Yes.
He is listening. What I want him to do, the next time he's going to start the car, instead of cranking it, no, just turn the key on for like 5 seconds. 3 times. Do it 3 times, not more than 4 times. Turn the key on, off it. Turn the key on the second time for like 5 seconds, off it. Turn the key on for like 5 to 10 seconds, the 3rd time, off it. Then the 4th time, crank it. If it cranks 1 time, your problem has to do with the fuel pressure regulator. In this case, this vehicle is 2010. I think the fuel pressure regulator is built into the fuel pump.
Yes.
It's on the fuel pump unit. So it might have to replace the fuel pump. Sometimes you can replace, if you can get it, which I doubt, you can replace the fuel pressure regulator by itself. And that's what I will advise him to do. Then, if he has a filter that's clogged, because the fuel filter for this vehicle is built into the fuel tank. It's built with the fuel pump. If this filter is dirty also, clogged up, you will also have this problem. This particular code is getting, what it will get is fuel management issue, acceleration issue. These are some of the challenges it will face when he's dealing with this problem.
Okay.
On the code he has, this will not cause the problem of the car having hard starting all the time. So these are the things I want him to do. He should try that. If the engine cranks 1 time after that process, he should go and replace the complete. Don't just replace the cartridge. Buy a complete unit, brand new unit of the fuel pump.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not looking at the codes anymore, right?
No,
Yes, identify the 3 codes.
The 3 codes, they are all related.
They are related.
Yes.
They all can sharp position sensor. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can still call in 091-538-77-127 or 009-9120-777 to drop your questions and your comments. Okay, now let's look at maintenance now. You mentioned maintenance, Mr. Kunle. You said the best way is for us to, maintain our vehicles regularly. Now, Tony, now for greenhorns, for those, we always have new people. We always have starters.
New owners buying cars for the first time.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, this is Automedics.
Yes, I know, this is Calvin. I drive Corolla 2006. I have similar issue that the person just called for Corolla. I just had a similar issue about starting. You start like 3 times before it will start. But my own is that immediately I move the vehicle, it will no longer be doing that. But when the vehicle is very hot, I use it as Uber. When it's very hot, like about 2 afternoons, it will start again. You try to start, it will not start until when it gets cold, it starts.
I don't know. Your problem is, Calvin, your problem is different. Listen on radio.
All right, sir.
You see, he's saying they have similar problem, exactly. But they're not similar. Based on his explanation, the problem are different, completely different.
Okay.
It should run a scan and send the code to us, but the problem are different completely. Because he says once the engine is hot, the car will not start on time until he allows it to cool down. He has his own problem has to do with the crankshaft position sensor. I'm very sure when he runs the scan, sometimes he might not get this code once he allows the engine to cool down.
That's true.
Yeah, because what your computer is doing is your computer register those problems intermittently if they're back to back.
Yeah.
But if the computer notices that you've driven the car some drive cycle, maybe 3 or 4 drive cycle, and it didn't experience it, it will go ahead and erase the codes, mostly on Toyotas.
Okay.
But in his own case, based on his explanation, only when the car is hot, when the engine is hot, that's when he experienced it. His crankshaft position sensor is on its way out. It's going to get to a point, it will drop a passenger off one day, and the car will not start again.
We don't want to experience that.
But if he runs a scan, it's going to get a code that has to do with crankshaft position sensor.
Oh.
Yeah. It probably says circuit out of range or give us a circuit problem. You know, these sensors are made of electrical components. Most of them have electrical winding. And this winding will get weak, bad.
At some point.
So they draw too much amperage. They have high resistance.
Yeah.
In his case, until let me explain it to Kelvin. I don't know how old this is.
There's a call too. There's another call coming.
Okay,
So we'll explain to Kelvin later.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes. Is this Kelvin?
sorry, Uncle Kunle, I was the one that called earlier.
Okay.
I was the one that called earlier concerning the
Corolla
2010.
Yeah.
Okay, my crankshaft sensor, my crankshaft sensor, the A and B,
Yes.
the plastic was faulty. So I gave my technician money to change the plastic. So immediately he brought that plastic. What he did is that he cut the wires and joined it with the old one. Could it be that he missed the wire? I don't know.
Which plastic is that?
I'm getting that explanation from you now, Uncle Ben, Uncle Kunle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You
So I
said
don't know either.
you said the plastic.
wire very well.
You said the plastic was bad. Which plastic? Are you talking of the sensor? The sensor
connectors,
cracked,
sorry.
or
Yes.
the connector plastic was bad?
Yes, the connector plastic that which you in fact
Yes,
put
yes,
the plastic
yes,
together
yes,
to the
yes.
sensor.
I think that's where your problem is coming from. If those things got broken and you have a loose connection, you're going to have all this code you're getting. But it's not the one causing your heart starting. this will give you this coach you have. I mean, I'm glad you called back because this kind of solved the problem for us. What you would do if he's going to, you see, you can change because the one on the sensor will be okay. If the one on the sensor, the sensor side is okay, you can go to the market, buy the connector, let them cut the wire. The wire will be long. It will look at the color code, make sure it matches the color code. It's possible it could have reversed the wiring. Maybe he gave Taye to Koinde to Taye.
Sorry to add. The wire, the one he bought, was not the same color.
Okay, so then he missed the connection. It's probably the connection.
So I was asking him that this red, the other side of it is not red. He said he knows that he will connect it. There's no problem. I'm going to do it. So my mind was like, I said, okay, why am I having this code? So I'm going to call Automedics today, at least to confirm.
I think you solved that problem. Yeah, tell him to reverse one of the wire. Did he change? It's only one he changed, or the?
It was the two sensors he cut.
Okay.
The sensor A and sensor B.
Okay.
So he bought fresh.
He has mixed the wire. He missed the wire. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir.
He missed the wire. I'm very sure he missed the wire.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah. Because part of the possible causes is faulty A connection. Part of the causes is faulty wiring connection. So it must have missed the wire, reversed the connection.
Oh, okay. So now let's move on. Yeah, we were talking about Kelvin's issue before that.
Yes, you see, Kelvin issue. I wanted to go back to the olden days. I don't know how old Kelvin is, but even if he's young enough to know people that drive car with coil, you know, back in the days we used to have coil. That when you are driving, because I remember back in the days, I always have a foam.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll have a bag of ice water or ice block because the car was driving then. Once the coil gets hot, it won't start.
Okay.
So I have to wait for the coil. In order not to wait, what I would do is I made a cup. So I inserted the coil inside the cup, wrap it around the foam. So it was inserted. Every time I stop, I will make sure I put some ice in it so that it will not get hot. So anybody that has experience.
Did it work?
Oh, like magic.
Oh my God. But you
see,
Julie, an old man.
Yeah, back then you have to be innovative because everybody that drive car, anybody listening that drive a car with contact sets will know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Because back then, once that coil gets hot, you will start experiencing backfiring. Make sure you don't stop where you are not. Don't stop the engine because once you stop the engine, it won't start until that coil. And back then we were using carburetor. If you are trying to start it, in the process of you trying to start it, you will flood the engine with petrol also. So your problem gets compounded because by the time the coil now cool down,
you have to
and that fuel will be killing the spark plug from sparking.
Oh my God.
So it's a 50-50 chance. But in this case, back these days, electronics has taken over. Your crankshaft position sensor is controlled by the computer. But the same thing still happens, that when that sensor is going bad, I'm not talking of the cam, I'm talking of the crank, the crankshaft.
Okay.
Once this sensor is going bad, every time you stop, when the engine is hot, you will notice that the thing will not crank, and in some cases it will not flag a code.
Wow.
But once it cools down, it starts one time. So Kelvin issue is related to that. It has nothing to do with a manual. that somebody reverse his own wiring.
Exactly.
Or the fuel pressure regulator is going bad. So that's the issue.
All right, 09153877127. That number is for voice calls. And you can also send us your question on WhatsApp on 0809-9120-777. You can drop your questions to your comments on our Facebook page. That's Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Okay, let's see what we have, traffic-wise from our live cameras. Right, we still have most areas within the metropolis still appreciable. All right, impediments remains negative in most areas. Okay, I can see. All right. In Wajanokwaja, yes, looking quite good. Yes, from Mongoro, it's a breeze all the way, and on the return journey too, that's on Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, and on Lagos Ibadan Expressway is also looking quite good, right? Impediment is also zero there. Just to show you will be our traffic signal lights. And moving on towards third mainland from Irewole, we have it good. And likewise on the return journey, we have monitoring cameras too on that stretch. So please do ensure you keep it within speed limit. Ugurina now is also good. Alapere, okay, it was Apostolic Church, yes, and down to toll gates, we have it good as well. So that's area, that stretch is also we also have live cameras there. So keep it within 80 kilometers per hour. All right, so the show is still Automedics, and we have Mr. Kunle Shonaike here in the building. So we're having a whole lot of conversation. Mr. Kunle Shonaike and Tunilo Balutuashe in the building, helping us tackle our car issues this morning. So if you have a car or you have a friend's car with you, yes, and you have experiencing whatsoever it is, yes, cranking issues, oil light issues, overheating, what have you, smoking, blue, black, yellow, green, whatever the color, just call us at the studio or you send us a question. So we want to talk about, maintenance now. I was saying something that we always have greenhorns in this industry. We always have people who just got their cars, maybe first time driving, or yes, it's my first car, and a lot of these people don't know jack about
cars,
all of these things. Yes.
Vehicles.
So even when you talk about engine oil, they don't even know. If they don't know,
when you have greenhorns, people that are using a car or a vehicle for the first time or buying it for the first time, that doesn't mean they're using it for the first time. When they're the one buying it for the first time, in most cases, they'll even over pamper the vehicle. That's my experience. Yes, that people with first car, first vehicle will over pamper that car. They will check it every morning to the point of even causing damage, because I've seen people checking their car. And this is another note I need to put out there.
Okay.
People, most, like you said, greenhorns, they will buy their first car. They'll check the water.
The engine oil every day.
Engine oil every day.
Yes.
Every day. And in the process of checking the water, they damage the radiator cap. Because these are things you're not supposed to open on a daily basis. You do that, you cause damage.
Okay.
So these are some of the challenges. But, not because I'm a mechanic, because when you're talking of people that abuse their car, part of it, I abuse my vehicle. There are some vehicles that...
This is confession time.
There are some vehicles that I abuse deliberately to see what they can withstand, what kind of pressure they can withstand.
That's true.
Though, I will have the parts ready.
Okay.
So that when it breaks down, I have something to fix it. But it's part of my job, because I wanted to see, is this thing done well? Is it built to last?
Okay.
So I do
That's
that.
Deliberate anyway.
Yes, I do that sometimes. But maintenance, it's a culture that has to be developed.
Okay.
You have to develop it. Tony can testify. In the workshop, I'm not in the workshop every day, but when I'm there, they see how hungry I get, how I shout, I'm cursing out some of these guys
have to be done
because I want
rightly.
them to do it the right way. I want them to do it right. And I'm always, and they see how I take care of my tools. When they come to borrow tools from them, from me, I tell them, go and buy your own. I bought mine. I paid for mine. You are getting
Save
paid.
up too.
Yeah, you are getting paid. It's like a farmer going to the farm
Yes.
without the hoe. So I said, you buy. And if you can maintain yours, then I know I can trust you with mine. I've actually given them a toolbox, and I traveled for 2 months. Coming back, the toolbox, 90% of it were missing.
Wow.
The ones that were not missing were broken.
I think generally we here
So-
we have issues with having a good maintenance culture.
Well, no, it's something that it starts from the home. It starts from the home.
Okay.
So
That's
I
interesting.
try to instill
That.
discipline into them.
Yeah, I think that's where we start from.
Yes.
I'm going to start from there tomorrow. Yes, how to have a good maintenance culture, especially if you have a car, if you're a driver. Yes, what are those things you need to do to keep your vehicles, in a tip-top condition, to maintain that car, the engine oil, what have you, and every information you need to, every information you need about that car. So
And
that
if
things
you
are
can
going to-
maintain other people's property, you will maintain yours.
yours. Okay. So this is where we call it a wrap on Automedics today. Thank you so much, Mr. Kunle Shonaike. Thank you. Tony Nobalutuashi. And they also have, some of our interns here with us. What's her name? Peace. Peace is here. And Joy. Thank you very much for being part of the
That's
conversation
funny. You
today.
have peace and joy.
I have peace and joy. Good.
I like
Thank you
that
so
combination.
much. Exactly.
In the studio today.
Peace and joy on Automedics. Yes, that's how it will be. And I also want to appreciate Hotel Victor and our executive producer is Tayo Akonle. My name is Aderonke Irewole. The show will make a return tomorrow, same time. Until then, you have a blessed day. Bye. Peace out.